2023 to 7:01 p.m. This is a meeting with the Streets and Sidewalks Committee. To my right is Councilwoman Lynn Snee. To my left is Councilman Samuel Pierce, and I'm Bob Phillips, the chair. We're here to talk about a couple of items this evening. The first one is authorizing a professional services agreement with LGB Inc. for a conceptual design of the downtown safety and streetscape renovation project. Mr. Titterington, are you going to do this one, or where's Mrs. Rhodes?
I can, but see, now she gives it to me. So this is the next step in the finalizing the design and then ultimately a construction authorization for the downtown safety and streetscape renovation project. We're asking for authorization to sign a conceptual design agreement with LJB Inc. Cost not to exceed $225,000. This would be phase one of a two-phase design project, the second phase being contingent upon you liking the results of the first phase. And when I say liking, it's the overall concept, the plan of attack, as well as the estimated budget. You had met with KZF, who did the first, phase A, that led to the streetscape design. This is a deeper dive, and it includes the outline of both not so much the streetscape part of it, except adding furniture or any other features on top of the stamped concrete and the color scheme, but also the safety elements such as potential bollards, also any electrical work and utility work that we might want to do to make the downtown more interactive, kiosks, etc., as well as what came out from the interviews and the reviews with each of the consultant candidates was the need to analyze more closely the roundabout, how it works, how many lanes it is, where the crosswalks are, whether they can be pushed up or out and over, as well as the quads and how big they are and should they be moved a little bit, not wholesale, but we're not talking about a square about or anything like that. But if we're going to do this, we ought to look at the main feature of the square, where two state highways converge, and a design that's been in place for decades, and see if there are any new insights, traffic engineering wise, based on the traffic warrants, the other data that's there, and look at it comprehensively. That's why phase one is a conceptual design that attacks all of those and gives us a very good estimate on not only what there is recommended to do, but then what we can expect the costs to come in as bids for construction are received, assuming that you want to go to that level. So $225,000. For 2023, we did include $250,000 in the 2023 capital improvement budget, and $50,000 in the water fund, because we do anticipate that we'll want to do some upgrades to the water services downtown as we go along. We are not asking for emergency legislation.
Okay. And all of this going off of the conversation we had about the comprehensive plan in the last committee meeting. I'm glad to see that the public is also involved in this, in their input into any future upgrades or amenities or safety issues that we would have within the downtown area. So I'm glad to see that. Other than that, I really don't have any other questions for myself. Any other committee members have any questions?
I do not.
Mrs. Snee?
I don't have any questions.
No questions? No? Any other council folks in the audience have any questions about this item? Okay. Anybody else in general in the audience have any questions on this item? Okay. Seeing none, what is your pleasure with this item with emergency?
Move forward with emergency.
No, there's no.
No,
There is no, I'm sorry. There is unanimous with the committee to move forward with the report as indicated by the staff. Okay, next item is, we're talking about the OPWC Round 38 grant application for the Adams Street, Riverside Drive, Staunton Road Roundabout Project. Mr. Titterington, or?
Sure.
Okay.
So OPWC Round 38 is the next round that council would need to authorize. That is a 2024-2025 project timeline. Originally, this project was anticipated to be at least a year later. As we've analyzed the intersection of West Main Street, Experiment Farm, and South Stanfield, that project continues to evolve. There's going to have to be some significant discussion over whether or not we want that to be a standard intersection versus a mega roundabout, we'll call it. For the record, that was a head shake and not a head nod from Mrs. Rhodes. So we want to flip-flop that and bring the Adams Street intersection at Staunton forward a year. We are recommending that this be a roundabout. We had had some design work done 2018, 19, and it's doable. It's not cheap, but roundabouts typically aren't. Any asphalt work isn't anymore. Right now, we have an estimate of $1.4 million total construction. $600,000 would be offset by OPWC funding, and then we would allocate appropriately between capital improvement and the utility funds based on the kind of utility work that we might anticipate having to do. We are asking for emergency legislation since we do have a deadline of August 7th to submit the application to the state.
I don't have any questions on this item, as it's pretty straightforward in my mind. Any committee members with questions?
I do not.
Mr. Pierce?
Are we fairly certain that we'll get the state funding for it as well?
The which funding? The OPWC funding?
Yep.
We've never not gotten that, so
Okay.
there's no reason to believe we would not.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else, City Council, in the audience, have any questions on this item? Okay. Seeing none, what is your pleasure with this item? And it does have emergency.
Move forward with emergency.
Move forward with emergency.
Okay. It's unanimous with the committee to move forward as staff is recommending. Any other items come before Streets and Sidewalks?